Okay, hello everybody and welcome to another checkpoint tutorial. My name is John Lukey and this is what we're going to have a look at today. We're going to have a look at the R80.10, completely different to GAIA R77. Before we start, I would like to tell you that I am sorry for being away for a while. I have been abroad. I am also sorry for not responding to your comments. As I said, I was busy and abroad. I came back and I tried to log into my YouTube channel, CheckNet Solutions, and I could not do that. So I have created a new channel, again called CheckNet Solutions, and I will be doing all my tutorials on that channel from now on. If you remember, let me go and show you. This is the channel I used to use, CheckNet Solutions. The channel is still the same name, so you will not find all my future tutorials on this channel. You will find them on the new CheckNet Solutions channel. That's how it goes. When you forget your credentials, you lose your channel. So we are going to create this topology today. I have 3 virtual machines. I've got Windows 7, my management server, and my gateway. I am using VMware workstation, I believe is 10. So I've got my Windows 7, my management server, and my gateway. The only thing I did is did the initial configuration via HTTPS, and that's exactly the same as the previous version, R77. So I didn't do anything else apart from that. So what we're going to do in this tutorial, we're going to log into the management server via the dashboard. We're going to link the gateway to the management server. Then we're going to go to Windows, or obviously we will apply some rules, create some objects to represent our Windows or the internal network, push the policy to the gateway, and then go to our Windows 7 and try to get access to the internet. This is a topology. This is my home router, which I have at home. The outside IP is a public IP address. The inside of my router is 192.168.1.1. So I give this router here, so this gateway, sorry, an internal IP of address of 10.1.1.1/24, and the outside 192.168.1.100/24. The gateway has the IP address of 10.1.1.5, and my Windows 7, I did not configure it yet, but I done that for a reason. So you can see, obviously I want to get some troubles here, so I can show you how you troubleshoot as well. By just putting all things together and get them to work, it's nice, but it's nice to have a few problems because you can see how I look around and solve the problem that I'm having. So before we carry on, take a snapshot of this topology if you want to refer back to it. And I am now going to log into my management server via the dashboard. We have a look at the dashboard. It's completely different to the previous one. In fact, I don't like it at all. I prefer the R77 dashboard. It's a little bit confusing, this new version, because they have changed a few things around. We're going to have a look at them as well. So let's get started with this tutorial. Here is my dashboard, admin, my password, my web management service IP address is 10.1.1.5. Okay, this is the first time I'm logging into it. This is my fingerprint. I have explained how to look at the fingerprints or confirm this is the correct fingerprint in previous tutorials, so I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to proceed. And here we are. Wow, What a difference. We got here on the left-hand side, we got our gateways and servers. We got our security policies. As you can see, there's no policies. This policy, the cleanup policy, will be at the bottom of our policies. We used to create it ourselves, but now it looks like the management server created it by itself. The only difference here, I always put the logs on. The reason is because I need to know if anybody is trying to log into my network, and where is it coming from, and so forth. Okay, network translation. Here we can get the logs. We can monitor the logs as well. It's not as good as the previous version, I'm telling you that. And you see, it takes a lot longer to load up the logs. It's a slower. I don't know if it's because it's a virtual environment. I like to believe that in real environment, this is a much faster process. Okay, here is our logs. Our management server is trying to connect to Checkpoint. It cannot do that because obviously we cannot access the internet. Management settings. Okay, your blades, your revisions and so forth are happening here. Command line, instead of going into our command line on our physical computer, we can do it from here, or instead of going forwards and backwards to here, okay, we can do it from, let me see, this is the management server. Instead of going into the management server from here, we can actually go from here. As you can see, it takes a lot longer to load. You see, it's not working at the moment. It might take a while, but I never use this. I usually go back to my VMware and do that from there. It's faster. Okay, so let's now create a gateway and sync it with our management server. To do that, we have to go here and create a new gateway. We can use either modes. I'm going for the easiest one. So gateway 1, our platform, it's again open server. The IP address of our gateway is 10.1.1.1. Let's go next. This is our password to sync the two. This was done at the initial configuration via HTTPS. Next, we'll get the interfaces. We only got two interfaces. I configured the outside. I gave it a static IP address of 192.168.1.100. Close that. Okay, we're good to go. And there is our gateway. Okay. Now, this network management, on previous version, it used to go topology. Okay. I don't understand why they've changed it to network management and not leave it as it was. They're confusing. So we do have our interfaces here, which we have to define them. Okay, that's the inside interface and that's the outside interface. If we double click or edit our interface, we get a new box, completely different to the previous version. So we need to define that this interface is the inside interface. And if we want to give it a comment, we just type in there, inside. Oops. Wow, Greek. Let me change it to English. Oh, sorry. Yes, English. Okay, inside interface. You must have realized by now that I'm Greek. Okay, this is the IP address. This is already been defined as an internal interface. Okay, if it's not, you modify it from here, you change it here. And we'll do that on the external because the external is picked up as an internal interface. And we'll do that right now. If we double click on the external interface, it's telling us it's an internal interface. This is not an internal interface. This is external interface. It's the outside interface. So we modify that, we override it, and we click on the internet. That's the link towards the internet. And okay that. Okay that. That's been done. That's all we have to do here with our gateway. There is a gateway, there's a management server. Okay. Sometimes, as you remember, we link them together. We synchronize them together here by putting our password when we created the gateway. This might not be the case. If we go to our gateway, as you can see, the establishment is not done. So we need to click on communicate. Oh, it says it's established. We'll see. You see here it's telling me, oh, it's changed now. So trust established. Was it established earlier? Is it my eyes? I can't remember whether it was established. Okay, we'll find out when we push the rules that we're going to create to the firewall and see if that's going to work. If that works, then that means the established communication. Excuse me. That's okay. Now we need to go to we need to create some objects. We need to create our Windows 7. We don't have to, because that's going to be part of our internal network. So we need to create our local area network, which we go to the objects on the side, networks. We have 18 networks already in there, being created already by the server. So what we need to do, we need to go to new network. We give it a name, inside local area network. We can give it a comment. This is our inside network. Our network is 10.1.1.0 and is 255.255.255.0/24. Okay, that's our network. I don't think we need to create anything else. We have created our gateway and our network, internal network. We need to create a Windows 8. Windows 8 is my local machine that I am logging into this virtual servers. I don't use Windows 7 to log into them, which I could have done, but I'm using my local machine, my physical machine, because it makes my life a lot easier. So we need to go here again and create a host. And this is Windows 8. As I said, this is my physical machine. Okay, the IP address of it is 10.1.1.254, and okay that. And now we need to go and create our rules. We're going to create a new rule on the top. We're going to call it our management rule. Let's put rule there as well, because when this was created, automatically he added the rule part. Okay, now let's minimize this so we can have more space. What we need to do here, we need to allow our Windows 8 to be able to log into the management server and the gateway via HTTPS and SSH. If you remember, in the old versions, we used to have all our objects here and we used to drag them. Now we have to go and look for them. So the easiest way that I find to do this is to go to the source and add on the plus button, and you will see them here. Okay, this is our gateway, and then we add our management server. If we go further down, okay, where is the management server? Management server is here. You can see I gave the gateway a color of red. It's easier to find it, to have a look at it. And I am going to do that with the management server. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go back to my gateways. I'm going to double click on my management server, and I will change its color to pink as well, so I can easily find it. This has been changed. We go here, we add, and here, there it is. As you can see, it's easier to spot it. Double click on that. Now, that's I am sorry, that's not the source, that is the destination. So we need to drag this to the destination, and we need to delete it from here. Nobody's perfect. Now, our source is our Windows 8. So we go here and we find it. There is our Windows 8. So what we're telling the firewall here, if anybody from Windows 8, which has the IP address of 10.1.1.254, is trying to connect to the management server and the gateway using HTTPS and SSH, SSH, okay, allow them to do that and give me logs. That's our first rule. The second rule, if you remember, it was a stealth rule, which means, by the way, somebody asked me what's the point of the stealth rule, and I will explain it in a minute. Let me create the rule and I will explain. I'm going to create it below my management rule. So double click on that and call it stealth rule. Let's put the rule in there. Okay, and what we're telling now the firewall and the management server is that if anybody else apart from Windows 8 tries to log into the management server and the gateway using any service, whether it's HTTPS, SSH, or any other service, drop the connection and please let me know what's happening. And finally, we're going to create our outbound traffic rule, which means it will allow the traffic from the inside to go to the internet or wherever they want to. In our case, we're going to allow anything, so everybody to go anywhere, but you can actually control that by putting HTTP or HTTPS, so they can only access the internet. And we're going to create that rule under the stealth rule. Double click on that and we're going to call this outbound rule or outbound traffic rule. Okay, so we need to allow the inside network, which we created earlier. We click on the plus button and here it is, inside local area network. I want it to allow it to go anywhere using anything, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to allow this. And I don't need to get any logs, because if somebody from my company wants to go to YouTube or whatever, I don't need to know about it. I trust them. So these are our rules. By the way, if you remember in the previous versions, we used to go and save what changes we made. Now this is saved automatically. You don't have to save your rules. They're already saved. If I get out of here and come back, as you can see, I haven't done any saving. So if I get out and come back, you'll see all my rules being here, which means they have been saved automatically by the system. Okay, we've done our rules. We need now to push them to the gateway. As I have said, it's the GUI here is different to the previous one, but it's not that difficult to get your way around as long as you play around with it. So if we go to the objects, you can create your objects here. Okay, new, you can do your groups, you can do a lot more. Network and hosts, which is the most important ones that we do. And then we can minimize that. So we need to push the policy to the gateway now. Now we're going to see if the establishment or the synchronization between the gateway and the management server has been done, as I said earlier. So we're going to push our policies to gateway number 1 and install. If you look down here, we're going to get a little window pop up. Oh, it didn't pop up this time. Okay, but you can see the progress of the policy being pushed, 50% so far. Okay, if we expand this, it's telling us it's been successfully pushed. That little green thing there, that's what it means. It means that the policy has been pushed successfully to the gateway. If you get that little image next to it, that means it hasn't been done and you need to troubleshoot. So now we have pushed the policy to our gateway. We need to go to our Windows 7, configure its IP addresses, and try and see if we can get to the internet. By the way, I've said earlier, I'll explain why the stealth rule. Okay, so what the stealth rule does, and let me get my tools here, and I am going to get to my image. Right, okay, so what the stealth rule does is telling the firewall, if anybody else within the company, okay, connects to the network and he wants to log into the firewall or the management server via HTTP or any service, as a matter of fact, do not allow them to do so, because I am the only administrator. Now, how do we know that this guy, let's say this guy, obviously he needs our username and password to connect into, but let's say he got the credentials from somewhere. He even knows what the IP address of the GUI client is. If he goes and puts the IP address of 10.1.1.10 on his computer manually, and he has our credentials, the username and password, he will be able to log into both the management server and the gateway via HTTPS and do some changes or kill the company. Right. The best practice, though, is that we can actually get the management server to be a DHCP server. So what happens when he connects onto the network? He gets an IP address automatically from the management server, or we can actually have the firewall be our DHCP server. This is something that I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do my next tutorial as how to configure them as DHCP servers. Now, even though they are DHCP servers, this guy can still go and put the IP address of 10.1.1.10 manually. But if he does that, and anybody else in the network has the same IP address, he will have a collision. It'll be a conflict of IP addresses there. But what we can do, though, when we configure this management server or the firewall as a DHCP server, we can tell them we want you to pass out addresses, but we want to exclude certain IP addresses. Let's say from 10.1.1.1 until up to 10.1.1.50, do not distribute them, do not give them out. And we can use those IP addresses to give our firewall a static IP address from that range, and our GUI client an IP address from that range that we exclude. But this I'm going to do that on another tutorial. So that's why we have created the stealth rule. We are telling the management server and the gateway, if anybody else within inside the network, a network or a company, wants to connect to you and make changes, please drop the traffic, drop the connection, and also let me know. Give me logs. Okay, and that's the reason for the stealth rule. I hope that you understood that. We need to go here now to our Windows 7. Now, I've done no configuration whatsoever. Well, so we need to go to our network card. Okay, and we need to apply the IP address for it. See this? There's nothing there. This was picked up by itself because we didn't give it anything. I think it's on the DHCP connection. Basically, obtain an IP address. If we had the management server or the gateway as a DHCP service, we would have had an IP address here. So we're going to put this manually now. The IP address of our Windows 7 is 10.1.1.10. 255.255.255 is just /24. Our default gateway must be our firewall, our gateway number 1. Okay. If we look at the diagram, this is our default gateway. 10.1.1.1 will be our default gateway. 10.1.1.1. And we need a DHCP server, sorry, DNS server, to allow us to get into the internet. So when we put www.mohammed.com, then the DNS server will translate that name to an IP address. And if I go back to my diagram, this router here acts as a DNS server. So our DNS server will be 192.168.1.1. Okay. That's 192.168.1.1. And okay. Okay, that. Close that. It looks like there's no connection there. Let's get on to Firefox. I don't think we're going to have a connection, and I know what the reason is. I've done this on purpose so I can show you how you can troubleshoot. Our Windows 7 has been configured correctly. We gave it an IP address, we gave it the correct mask, we also give the gateway, which is the firewall or the gateway 1, and there you go, we cannot connect. And the reason for that, it's because this firewall, the only configuration I did to this firewall when I connected to it via HTTPS is give it an external IP address, a static IP address. Okay, the 192.168.1.100, nothing else. But what I didn't tell this firewall, where is this gateway? Or where I didn't give it a routing, what you call it, where to route the traffic. And obviously I want this firewall that any traffic that comes from the inside to push it outside. This will be its gateway. So if we log into this firewall via HTTPS, I will show you how that is done. HTTPS. The firewall is 10.1. Yeah, that's the one there. Okay, admin. Okay, this is all I did. This is the only thing I did. I went here and I gave it an IP address to the external interface. Okay, but then I should have given it a static route as well. So what I'm telling this gateway now, I want you to forward traffic to an IP address, which is my 192.168.1.1. Okay, and allow ping. Okay, that's it. This must be done, otherwise it won't work. So if we go back to our Windows 7 now, the virtual machine, we should be able to get to the internet. Let's refresh this. I know. You're hoping it won't work. It takes some time sometimes. By the time the machine, Windows 7, communicates with the gateway you can have a coffee. I don't know, it's because it's a virtual environment properly. Okay, we are not connected. I wonder why. Again, now we're going to have to troubleshoot. So the first thing we need to do is we need to see if we can ping the gateway. Okay. So I'm going to go and ping. Let me see a ipconfig to see my IP address is correct. Subnet mask is correct, and the default gateway is also correct. So I want to ping 10.1.1.1. Okay, I cannot even ping the gateway. Let me see if we can ping the management server. Let me enlarge this a little bit so we can all make our life easier. Change directory. I forgot how to do this. Change directory. Okay, we leave that now. I'm going to look into it. I'm going to look into it a little bit later. This is embarrassing. But anyway, we'll ping 10.1.1.5, I think. Yeah. Okay, we can ping our management server, which means that we're on the actual network. Let's try and ping. Right. I remember what the problem is by experience. So the reason is because we don't allow anybody to ping to the gateway. This is not allowed by the system. This is a default configuration. So we need to go into our smart dashboard. And if we go to our global properties, we have to allow ICMP requests. You see that? That should be clicked on. Okay. And we need to push the policy again. If we don't manage to log into the internet again, then we're going to need to come here and have a look at the logs. So looking at down here, okay, that was done successfully. Let's go back to our Windows 7. Let's see if we can ping it now. We still can't ping it. That is not right. Bear with me a second. Let me see if I can ping my Windows 8 machine, 10.1.1.254. That's okay. Right, okay. Sometimes when you're in a virtual environment, things don't work. And after 5 minutes, they do work. I'm telling you this from experience, by the way. So we have that. Let's see if we can connect to the internet, though. Sometimes you might not be able to ping your default gateway, and sometimes without being able to ping it, you can get to the internet. I believe this is not allowed because of rule number 2, the stealth rule, and I believe it's because we said any service, and that means ICMP or any connection to the gateway and the management server cannot be done. So if we go back to our rules and we change the stealth rule, we can actually disable it and check out, see if we can connect. But if we change the services to HTTPS and SSH, only those two services, and we push the policy again, it should work. Before we do that, let's go have a look at the logs. You see, the logs are not even here. It's not even giving us any logs. Oh, it does. Okay. Here it is. Our Windows 7 10.1.1.10 is trying to connect via ICMP, and it's been dropped. If we go down by the stealth rule, there you go. Good thinking, Batman. This is all because of my experience. It's not. I don't have anything magical. It's because I have some experience in this. So now, if we push the policy that we have changed those two services, and then we go back to our Windows 7, we should be able to ping, and we should be able to connect to the internet. Okay, that's done. Let's go back. Let's refresh this. It doesn't look like it wants to connect to the internet, my dear friends. So again, this is part of troubleshooting. So what we need to do, we're going to try and see if we can ping the gateway now. We're going to see if we can ping the outside interface, and we can see if we can ping our router's interface. Let's see how far we can reach from Windows 7 going outwards. So I'm going to ping 10.1.1.1, which is our gateway. Now we can reach it. Let's try and ping the outside interface, which is 192.168.1.100. We can reach that. Let's see if we can reach, let me show you, we can reach the inside interface, the outside. Let's see if we can reach the router. And that's ping, let me go upwards, 192.168.1.1. We cannot reach that, okay? This is telling me that we are not translating the inside network to our outside network. Basically, what we're doing, we are coming into the gateway, but we are not translating this into this. We need to do NAT, a hide NAT, which means one to too many. It's like a port translation in Cisco's. So we need to go now and find a local area network and allow NAT. So we can translate all the inside IP addresses, 10.1.1.0 network, into 192.168.1.100. And we need to go here. We need to go to our objects. In fact, we got it here. You see, the good thing about Checkpoint, you don't have to go and look for your local area network. You got it here. We double click on that, and we do NAT, and we allow a hide NAT. So we're going to hide the inside network, the 10.1.1.0, to behind the gateway's IP address, which is 192.168.1.100. Okay, that. Push the policy again. And I believe this time we should be good to go. I love it when we have a few problems, because you look around and try and solve the problem. And that's how you gain experience, by troubleshooting and looking around what's going on. So now we've done that. Let's go to our Windows. Let's again ping. There you go. We can actually ping an external IP address, which is Google's. There you go. We can ping Google's, or we can even go ping www.google.com. Okay, there you go. That's the IP address of Google. 172.217.17132. Right, now we should be able to get to Google. There you go. Okay, let's go to another has anybody gone to this website? I love it. I do a lot of video editing as well. I'm a professional video editor. I use After Effects a lot, and I use their products. I use Element 3D. Fantastic. If you're interested, have a look at it. Videocopilot.net. Andrew Kramer, very good, unbelievable. He does magic, this guy. Okay, so we have access to the internet. We've done a little bit of troubleshooting. We had a look at the GUI, which is completely different to the previous one, but again, if you look around, you'll find your way around. Okay, so our next tutorial, it will probably be that we're going to get either our management server or the gateway to become a DHCP server, and we're going to exclude some IP addresses where nobody within inside the network can receive. We're going to add another Windows in the network, and we're going to see that it's going to pick up an IP address from one of our DHCP servers. Okay, that's it. Any questions, put them in the comment, and I promise you I will answer them this time, guys. And as I said, I was away and busy, and I'm sorry I did not respond to you guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you're going to understand a lot more and find your way around the GUI as we create a lot more tutorials. Please subscribe and share it if you can with anybody you can. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.